I do have two devices I wanted to share with you, kind of wrap up the session today that we built. We were kind of Alberto mentioned I'm a developer, kind of a developer. I don't know. I feel like I'm definitely always learning and never really at that level. Unfortunately, I work with people that are much better developers than I am. But I certainly try and contribute what I can. I actually do a lot of the design of plugins using like Max or PD, like a prototype using a graphical programming language. And when I say we, my business partner and I, Edwin Park, run a company called Delta Sound Labs. We just released our first software plugin. We were in the Eurorack space for a little while, but we've since discontinued that, and we're now focused solely on software. So we have this granular synthesizer that we built. It's a VST, VST3, AU, the whole works. We'll run in Ableton. It's pretty fun. Yeah, check it out. You can download it for free and try it out with a limited feature set. So that's kind of what I do. The reason I'm showing this really is just because this plugin started as a Max and a PD patch, like a Max patcher. So like that was kind of my gateway into development, was using a graphical programming language, because I'm a musician first and foremost, although I don't spend as much time making music as I used to. Yeah, to learn to code was not something that really, I was never really that interested for the longest time. But the more time I spent with my craft, kind of what Mason was talking about, I really love that conversation, because it's amazing what kind of paths your craft can lead you down. Especially when you've got a dedicated instrument like a drum kit. In my case, it's guitar. And that's probably a good segue, so we don't have to look at a browser anymore. So I'm going to shut this up. We'll move over to example 2. And I've got two Max devices I want to talk about. So the first one is actually made by one of our original co-founders, John Harding. He was our hardware designer. He made an earlier version of this. I redid the GUI for it and added in a distortion stage for it. We released this just as a free device, which was a lot of fun. So basically what you're looking at, again, is another device built in Max. And this thing's pretty cool because you can, again, we were just trying to prototype ideas. Like we were just like, what do people like to listen to? Like, what do they need? What are the kinds of tools that they need? And Max is a great way to figure that out. So this was a filter that we kind of threw out there. And on this track, I just have a pretty basic, uninteresting groove. I'll switch this one off. We're not getting anything because... Why am I not hearing anything? Because my group is off. Like a legend. Alright. Alright, so that's... I also, Mason, love drum bus with 2 S's. It is awesome. That's it without. If you haven't used drum bus yet, definitely explore it. It's pretty cool. So this should be like a drumlet that's kind of a little heavy hitting. What this filter does, it makes it sound a little bit psychedelic. It's basically a fixed set of bands that kind of infinitely sweep either up or down through the frequency spectrum, and it creates this kind of weird psychedelic effect. And we have a Q control for the bands. So it's just a bunch of bandpass filters. That's really it. The magic is like having them kind of lockstep, moving through the frequency spectrum. And you can change the direction, you can change the speed. And this device is completely free. You can download it from maxphilak.com if you're interested. You can also sync it to the DAW. So that's me pulling the tempo down. And under the hood, again, it's all using Max, so it's, slow that down. Yeah, so it's basically just a bunch of bandpass filters. Really, the hard work is in the GUI stuff, for the most part. I mean, yeah, both took time, but yeah, I mean, to make a device like this, at least to prototype it, you can do it pretty quickly. I think you often hear, especially in this day and age, you hear people talk about rapid prototyping a lot, particularly in the tech industry. And I think that's where Max is really cool inside of Ableton, because you can be working on a project and be like, I really need this thing, and then just build it if you know how to. And if you don't, there's plenty of people that can help you build it, and there's a ton of resources on how to use the software too. So if you're sitting thinking, like, I'd like to learn Max, but I just can't get over the hump, there's a ton of really good tutorials. You should check out tutorials by my good friend Gregory Taylor at Cycling. He has some really good stuff for beginners, particularly if you're interested in video as well.